The geopolitical balance of the Asia-Pacific has just been permanently shattered. For over 7 decades, the Japanese Diet stood as a symbol of ironclad pacifism, a nation defined by its self-defense-only doctrine. But as of April 2026, the silence has been broken. Tokyo has officially abandoned its post-war constraints, pivoting toward an aggressive military modernization program that few saw coming. This isn't just a budget increase, it is a fundamental rebirth of a warrior nation designed to answer the most pressing threat of our century, the imminent collision over Taiwan. To understand the gravity of this shift, one must look at the rising sun patch, now worn by a new generation of Japanese operators. For 70 years, the Article 9 Peace Clause was the bedrock of Japanese identity. Today, that clause is being tactically bypassed by the reality of regional expansionism. The digital maps in Tokyo's command centers are glowing with a new directive: active deterrence. Japan is no longer waiting to be struck. It is preparing to ensure that any hostile move against its interests is met with a devastating, high-tech counter-strike capability. At Misawa Air Base, the atmosphere is electric. Under the heavy Pacific rain, rows of 5th-generation F-35 Lightning II stealth fighters sit ready. This is the new front line of Japanese air superiority. By positioning these elite assets so close to the contested zones, Japan is sending a clear message to Beijing's J-20 pilots. The sky is no longer yours to claim. The air superiority grid is being woven into a tight, impenetrable mesh, combining land-based radar with the world's most advanced low-observable fighters to create a permanent no-fly zone for adversaries. But the air war isn't just restricted to land. In a move that has stunned naval analysts, the JS Izumo has completed its conversion. What was once labeled a helicopter destroyer is now a true aircraft carrier, capable of launching F-35B short takeoff and vertical landing jets. As the smoke and sea spray clear from its deck, the reality of Japanese power projection becomes undeniable. Tokyo can now move its stealth umbrella hundreds of miles into the Philippine Sea, providing a mobile, low-observable shield that can loiter exactly where the adversary's master plan is most vulnerable. When we compare the Japanese F-35 to the Chinese J-20 on our tactical HUD, the technical gap becomes clear. While the J-20 has the advantage in raw speed and internal missile capacity, the Japanese F-35s operate within a superior sensor fusion network. Data bars indicate that the F-35's stealth signature and electronic warfare suite allow it to see without being seen, long before kinetic engagement begins. This technological edge is Japan's primary insurance policy against the numerical weight of the People's Liberation Army Air Force in the 2026 standoff. The map of the Pacific is being redrawn by what analysts call the Ring of Fire. This is a massive, coordinated deployment of long-range strike assets across Japan's southern island chain. By turning these remote volcanic outcrops into fortified missile bastions, Tokyo is creating a tactical bottleneck. The glowing red zones on our interface represent the overlapping kill webs of these batteries. Any invasion fleet attempting to enter the Pacific through the first island chain will now have to sail through a gauntlet of precision-guided steel that extends for over 1,000 kilometers. The primary weapon of this coastal blockade is the domestic Type-12 surface-to-ship missile. Originally designed for short-range defense, the 2026 variant has been upgraded to a terrifying 1,000-kilometer range. These launchers are hidden deep within Japan's forested interior, camouflaged and mobile, making them nearly impossible to neutralize with a first strike. As they fire from their hidden bays at dawn, They represent a domestic industrial triumph, a missile that can reach across the sea to strike an invading fleet before it even leaves its home port. Supplementing the Type-12 is the American-made Tomahawk cruise missile. By integrating these legendary weapons into their destroyers and land-based batteries, Japan has gained a counter-strike capability that changes the math for Beijing and Moscow. The Tomahawk skims the ocean surface at supersonic speeds, following the curvature of the Earth to avoid radar detection. This isn't just about sinking ships, it's about the ability to strike mainland naval ports directly. For the first time, the adversary's bases are no longer safe havens, but legitimate tactical targets. Our tactical 3D map highlights the critical corridor from Okinawa to Shanghai. The digital vector between these 2 points is now shorter than ever in terms of response time. A strike launched from Japan's southern islands can reach mainland strategic centers in less than 8 minutes. This proximity creates a compression of time that paralyzes the adversary's decision-making loop. In the 2026 theater, speed is the ultimate currency, and Japan has just invested heavily in a system that ensures the adversary has no time to react to a coordinated counterstrike. But perhaps the most lethal element of Japan's new strategy lies beneath the waves. The Taigei-class submarine is a masterpiece of underwater engineering. Moving through the dark, cold depths of the East China Sea, these boats are nearly invisible to even the most advanced sonar arrays. Powered by cutting-edge lithium-ion batteries, the Taigei can remain submerged and silent for significantly longer than traditional diesel-electric subs. In the silent void of the deep, these great whales are the ultimate hunters, waiting for the signal to paralyze a fleet. Inside the Taigei's command center, the sonar operator's screen is a grid of neon cyan precision. Every Chinese hull in the region is marked and tracked on a digital 3D grid. The Taigei doesn't just wait for a target, it hunts with predatory patience. Because it lacks the noisy mechanical pumps of nuclear or traditional air-independent propulsion systems, it is the quietest submarine in the Pacific. It represents a hard counter to the plan's naval expansion, a silent sentinel that can sit in a choke point and wait for the perfect moment to strike with devastating effect. In a surprising turn of events, Japan has looked to the battlefields of Eastern Europe to refine its asymmetric edge. A high-tech assembly line in a sterile Japanese facility shows a unique collaboration. Ukrainian defense engineers advising Japanese tech firms. This partnership was born from the necessity of modern war, the need for mass-produced, cheap, and lethal kamikaze drones. By blending Japan's manufacturing precision with Ukraine's combat-tested drone software, Tokyo is building a drone shield that can swarm an invasion fleet with thousands of precision-guided explosives. This swarm capability is the ultimate asymmetric trap. Imagine 1,000 kamikaze drones taking off simultaneously from small, inconspicuous naval vessels and coastal containers. They don't require a massive carrier or a vulnerable airfield. They are the Mosquito Fleet of the 2026 conflict. On our HUD, the asymmetric shield indicator shows how these drones can saturate an enemy's air defense, picking apart destroyers and landing craft with surgical strikes. It turns the sheer mass of an invasion force into a liability as they struggle to hit targets the size of a bird. Visualizing the coalition effort, we see the JS Kaga sailing in perfect formation with a United States Navy Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. This isn't just a show of friendship. It's a demonstration of total interoperability. Their systems are linked via a seamless data link, allowing them to share radar data and target coordinates in real time. If the Burke's radar sees a threat, The Kaga's missiles can neutralize it, and vice versa. This unified front turns two separate navies into a single, massive fighting force that China's master plan simply cannot account for. Our digital infographic illustrates the tactical nightmare for an invasion fleet. They are trapped in the ring of fire, surrounded by red target markers that represent land-based missiles, stealth jets, and silent submarines. There is no safe route through the Taiwan Strait anymore. Every square mile is covered by overlapping circles of lethality. By creating this high-density threat environment, Japan has effectively denied the ocean to its adversary. The master plan for a swift 2026 victory is dissolving into a scenario of prolonged, high-cost attrition that Beijing cannot win. From the cockpit of a Japanese F-35, the world looks like a data-rich battlefield. The pilot doesn't just see a distant carrier task force. He sees its electronic signature, its defensive vulnerabilities, and its projected path. The neon cyan overlays provide a level of situational awareness that was science fiction just a decade ago. This pilot is the tip of the spear in a sensor-to-shooter loop that connects every Japanese asset. He is the eyes of the fleet, identifying targets for the ring of fire long before the enemy even knows he's in the area. On remote, jagged islands across the Pacific, Japan has installed early warning radar stations that glow like beacons in the dark. These antennas never stop rotating, scanning the horizon for the slightest hint of a stealth signature or a missile launch. These stations are the nervous system of the rising cage. They ensure that Japan is never caught off guard. By the time an adversary realizes they have been detected, the entire counter-strike machine is already in motion, fueled by the data flowing from these lonely, windswept outposts. In a simulated firing sequence, we see the terrifying efficiency of the Type-12 missile. As it nears its target, a drone ship mimicking an enemy cruiser, the missile performs complex terminal maneuvers to avoid interception. The kinetic impact is confirmed with a massive explosion flare on the simulation screen. This is the reality of 2026. A single, well-placed missile can end the life of a multi-billion-dollar warship. Japan's investment in these weapons has shifted the cost-exchange ratio firmly in their favor, making aggression an incredibly expensive gamble. Deep inside the Taigei-class submarine, we see the heart of its silent power, the lithium-ion battery array. These batteries are more than just a power source. They are a strategic advantage. They provide the boat with massive bursts of energy for high-speed underwater maneuvers and allow for near-instant recharging compared to older lead-acid tech. On our HUD, the endurance meter stays green even after days of silent loitering. This is the technology that will allow Japan to win the battle of the deep, remaining undetected in the adversary's own backyard. The command center wall shows a split screen that tells the story of a nation reborn. On the left, images of the old self-defense force, restricted, passive, and focused on territorial waters. On the right, the new counter-strike operations, global, aggressive, and highly integrated. This transition is the story of the decade. Japan has recognized that in the 2026 environment, defense is no longer enough. To survive, they must be capable of striking the archer, not just catching the arrows. This shift is the definitive end of the pacifist era, as F-35 jets fly in formation directly over the neon-lit skyscrapers of Tokyo. The message is one of strength and resolve. The cityscape below is one of the most technologically advanced on Earth, and it is now protected by an equally advanced shield. The signal strength on our HUD is at maximum, representing the total mobilization of Japan's industrial and military might. The people of Japan have accepted that the price of their freedom is a permanent high-tech vigilance. The cage is built, the traps are set, and the giant is fully awake. A Japanese destroyer launches a sea-to-air interceptor, its trail of smoke cutting a white scar across the blue sky. This is part of the integrated air and missile defense system that protects the islands from retaliatory strikes. For every offensive missile Japan has deployed, they have built a corresponding shield. This dual-purpose strategy ensures that even if the Ring of Fire is engaged, Japan's home islands remain protected. It is a layered defense that seeks to minimize casualties while maximizing the cost to the aggressor. Our tactical map of the Taiwan Strait now shows Japan's Ring of Fire overlapping the entire area. Every shipping lane, every amphibious launch point, and every air corridor is covered by Japanese neon cyan labels. This isn't just a military deployment, it's a psychological one. It tells the adversary's planners that there is no easy way to take Taiwan. Japan has effectively extended its perimeter to include the stability of its neighbors, realizing that its own security is inextricably linked to the freedom of the surrounding seas. The kamikaze drone, small and unassuming, strikes its target dummy with a localized, high-intensity explosion. This asymmetric weapon is the great equalizer of the 2026 conflict. It proves that a $1 million tank or a $100 million ship can be disabled by a drone costing only a few $1,000s. By mass-producing these with Ukrainian expertise, Japan has ensured that even if its high-end assets are occupied, the adversary will still be bled white by a death of 1,000 cuts from the drone swarm. In a high-tech command center, United States and Japanese admirals share a handshake that signifies the strongest alliance in the Pacific. They are looking at a massive tactical wall display that shows the steel net, a unified vision of the theater. Their cooperation is the foundation of regional stability. By working together, they have created a deterrent that is greater than the sum of its parts. This partnership is the ultimate firewall against the 2026 invasion plan, a geopolitical bond that the adversary's master plan failed to break. On a rugged coastal cliff at night, a Japanese sniper looks out over the Pacific. He is part of a distributed lethality strategy that places small, lethal teams in every corner of the archipelago. He is equipped with a digital HUD that links him to the entire network. He can see the same target data as a destroyer captain or an F-35 pilot. This coastal defense is the final, unbreakable layer of the cage. Even the smallest island is a fortress, and every mile of coastline is watched by eyes that never blink. The digital clock on our interface is ticking down rapidly toward the 2026 deadline. This is the Davidson window, the period of maximum danger for the Pacific. But as the clock ticks, we see Japan's readiness bars filling up. They have used every second of the last few years to prepare for this moment. While the adversary planned for a weak pacifist Japan, they are finding a nation that is ready for a high-intensity conflict. The deadline is approaching, but the ultimate trap is already fully operational. A wide shot of the Pacific at night reveals the steel net in its full glory. Glowing tactical lines connect Tokyo, Washington, Manila, and Canberra. This is the new architecture of power. The ocean is no longer an empty space. It is a connected tactical environment where every ally is a sensor, and every sensor is a weapon. Japan's move to abandon pacifism was the final piece of this puzzle. By joining this net as a full, aggressive partner, they have completed the encirclement of the threat. As we close this analysis, the Navy Moments logo appears, textured with the subtle rising sun of the Japanese flag. We are witnessing a historic pivot. Japan's decision to go all in on modernization has changed the rules of the game. They have rendered the adversary's invasion master plan entirely useless by meeting mass with technology and pacifism with active deterrence. We will continue to track this evolution as the 2026 deadline nears. Information is our primary weapon, and the steel net is our final shield. The JS Izumo disappears into the sunset horizon, a silhouette of modern power against the fading light. The Pacific balance has been permanently altered. Japan is no longer a bystander in its own neighborhood. It is the architect of a new, high-tech peace. The rising cage is secure, and the ring of fire stands ready. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the 2026 standoff. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and subscribe to Navy Moments for the truth about the future of naval power. The battle for the Pacific has only just begun.